One journo. One journo. Got one? You got one? Oh, you bought one.
Just going forward, thanks, Minister. So we just get a bit of a reading, right?
How are you?
Good morning.
I'm well, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you when you're on. Is everyone ready?
I'm almost ready.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just put these people go.
I had to sacrifice my beautiful shot for Channel 7.
Oh, do you want me to? Oh, Eddie. You're such a gentleman.
Do you want me to? I've got a problem. Getting out of cable, someone's doing online.
Oh.
Just wait a sec, so
We're live, mate.
Just wait up a sec. Yes.
Good to go, CJ?
Anyway, so I'm just going to quick press and check it all let it go.
Well, good morning. What a beautiful Saturday morning we have here on the north side of Brisbane. Today I'm joined with our Chief Superintendent, Stream, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of road safety, no doubt. And we remind people, as we're into the first week of the Queensland school holidays, and we're seeing a volume of traffic out there on the roads, an increased volume will come through from the New South Wales school breaks. So we remind people when they're out on the roads, make sure you adhere to the road rules. keep to the speed limits, wear your seat belts, don't touch your mobile phone, and make sure, importantly, you don't drink drive. More than 200 fatalities this year is more than enough. We want to make sure you bring your families home safe and have an enjoyable holiday. There's an operation in place which the Chief Super will be talking about shortly, Operation Spring Break. So as a result of that, we're seeing more police on the roads, more covert operations. So you will be caught if you're doing the wrong thing on our roads in Queensland this period. Importantly as well, as we're seeing inclement weather coming through, make sure you drive according to the limits and also the conditions of the roads. Sometimes you see people still either speeding or going recklessly on the roads when they're wet. That is the wrong thing to do. So once again, the clear message is do the right thing on our roads, come home safe with your family, and we'll make sure that you're protected. And in closing, can I thank the good women and men of the Queensland Police Service for keeping us safe, not only in the roads but also in our homes and in our communities. They do an excellent job 24/7, so look out for them. Say good day to them if you see them out there. They're good people and they're there to protect us. I'll hand over to the Chief Super.
Sorry, Minister. Thank you, Minister. So as the Minister mentioned, throughout this school holiday period, we are conducting an operation by the name of Spring Break. So that involves both high visibility as well as unmarked vehicle patrols. You'll see increased deployments of speed cameras on the main thoroughfares as well as on suburban roads. Unfortunately, we've seen a number of the suburban roads where we've had traffic accidents involving fatalities. And as the Minister said, we have more than 20 persons that have passed away as a result of fatal traffic accidents. So that is an absolute tragedy. I don't just want to talk about this morning the bare statistics, but as I said, we are more than 20 deaths over what we were at this time last year. But these are actually people. These are members of your family, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, and unfortunately yesterday afternoon we saw the tragic passing away of an 11-year-old child as a result of a traffic incident which occurred on Thursday morning. So that is a horrible thing for that family to have to endure. And as I said, we are talking about people here. These are not just bare statistics that you'll see. Throughout spring break, during this first week of school holidays, we have seen, again, infringements being issued for speeding. We are seeing people being detected that are drink and drug driving, and again we are seeing far too many. This is a tax, if you like, that you can avoid. You do not have to contribute to this by simply, and as the Minister talked about a little bit earlier on, by paying attention to those fatal five. So the speeding, the drink and drug driving, wearing your seatbelt, distraction and fatigue. These are all really things that we would love to see the community contribute towards reducing those road fatalities and even those serious injury traffic accidents, which we see again. We've seen a number of those over the last few days, and again some of those involving children, where we've seen very, very serious injuries occur to those children during those accident periods, and these are life-altering injuries. So again, absolute life-altering in terms of the medical care that's involved or the ongoing care that's involved with those people. And again, we just urge people to pay attention when you get into that vehicle. Make yourself a promise. Those other people, the passengers in your vehicle, are absolutely reliant upon your attention to the way in which you conduct your driving. And we want to see you get towards the end of your trip, and it could be, as I said, a short trip on a suburban road. We want to see you get there safely. And again, this is not some sort of insidious disease that we don't know the answer to. We have the answer to that, and we can solve this problem with the cooperation of the greater community. Thank you.
Anything stand out in the operation as a particular problem this spring?
Well, as I said, so we're seeing, again, far too many drivers speeding, and that's on those major thoroughfares. We're still seeing people being detected drink driving and drug driving as well. Again, we ask for the community's cooperation, and that if you see your friends that they might be thinking about drink driving or those sorts of things, don't allow them.
Do you have the stats from the last week on fatalities and serious crashes?
Not by the breakdown. And this week, as I said, we are more than 20 above what we were last year. And we have seen an increased amount of both injury and fatal traffic accidents through this week period in comparison to spring break last year.
How heartbreaking is it, I suppose? You've got all these extra resources on the road for the spring break operation to see people
It is heartbreaking, and as I said, it is heartbreaking for those families because we are talking about lives here, we are talking about people, as I said, just ordinary members of the community, and some of them undertake those trips not thinking that they're going to be involved in a serious or fatal traffic accident. So it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for the Queensland Ambulance Service, the Queensland Fire and Emergency Service as well, all of those first responders. We saw a horrible incident the other day where the Queensland Ambulance Service had to conduct some emergency surgery on the side of the road to a child. Absolutely horrible. Thank you.
Okay.
Minister, can we ask you about today's other issues?
Sure.
The Gabba. What's happening?
Well, look, it's exciting always to hear a lot of interest in the Olympic Games in 10 years' time. And it was just yesterday, in fact, I had the ambassador from Indonesia to Australia in my boardroom in my ministerial office talking about the Olympic Games. Several weeks earlier, on a trade mission over in Vietnam, the same interest is there in terms of the Olympic Games. And you'll find that across the world. So Brisbane, Queensland is on the cusp of a really exciting opportunity for the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. So I'm pleased there's a focus on it. No doubt in terms of the costing, the build, that's some way off, and there'll be a detailed and instrumental tendering process to go through in terms of the design and in terms of the construction of the Gabba. So let's wait for that rather than start trying to tear down a good prospect, a good outcome that will see in decades to come the benefits of these Olympic Games into the future.
You said it's a good prospect. There are several problems with it though. Do you think that cost is worth it for 8,000 seats? What will happen to the streets around it and all the other issues?
Well, once again, I think this comes down to the design of the build, and no doubt we'll be talking to the community, we'll be talking to others involved in making sure we get this right. The position of the Gabba is absolutely perfect to the location of Brisbane as a city. This no doubt will be a great opportunity for people to go and, whether it be the games, whether it be cricket matches, whether it be AFL games into the future, this is a great opportunity not only for the games but also future games like cricket or AFL. So let's wait and see the actual final design, the tendering process before we start raising issues associated with expended costs.
Do you think the seats would be worth the cost to blow out?
I don't know at this stage, and I think it's fair that we allow the process to go through. We do have time on our side, and we'll make sure we do it thoroughly and we do it right. That's one thing the Palaszczuk government always does.
So when will a decision be made?
Pardon?
When will a decision be made?
I'm not intimately involved in that particular process. That's a question would be either directed to the Deputy Premier or the Premier herself in regards to that processes. But no doubt, once again, we do have time on our side.
It is fair to say then there are some question marks over this and perhaps other sites would be considered.
Well, that's once again yet to be determined. At this stage, the focus is on the Gabba. It seems ideally as a place to hold the games, and when you consider the location, also the Cross River Rail and the connection processes involved and opportunities, it is a typical site that should be considered.
Previously we've heard it was locked in. Is it fair to say there are now some question marks?
Once again, I think we'll go through the tendering and the detailed assessment process and see what weighs up as a result of that.
As you said, we do have time on our side, but would you prefer a decision to be made on these sorts of things sooner rather than later to have it all locked in?
Oh, no doubt that's always beneficial, but we want to make sure we get it right. And I know we will have it right if you look at our past successes as a state, the Commonwealth Games, Expo 88, all those good things, despite the fact of them being minuscule in terms of the games, this will be an exciting time for Queensland, and I can't wait. And I know the Premier is 100% behind making sure that she sees the success, as well as every cabinet and caucus member of the government, to see the success of the 2032 Games.
Is the government actively looking at other sites while it goes through this tendering process?
Once again, I'm not intimately involved in that process, but those sorts of questions would be better directed to the Premier or the Deputy Premier.
Sorry, when did you say those final designs would come in?
No, I didn't give any time, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought it was my note taking.
No.
Do you have a rough idea of the time frame?
No, I don't, sorry.
Okay, but years, months, or?
No, it will be some time, but I don't have a figure or a time to put on that.
Minister, in regards to the land tax, yesterday the Deputy Premier couldn't answer what tax implications would be in place for the new granny flat scheme. Is the government now making policies on the fly?
No, not at all. I think we're looking at all opportunities. In fact, in my area of portfolio, agriculture, we're working with the state development in terms of looking at relief in terms of, you know, housing in rural community areas. So we're looking at all aspects in terms of making sure we alleviate the housing shortage. So this is a positive step. It's a step that should be considered, and we'll look at anything that's out there that will relieve the opportunities for people to have a roof over their head.
Then why doesn't the minister in charge, why are they not across the new tax implications of this new scheme?
Well, I understand the Deputy Premier is across his portfolio. He always is. So let's examine the opportunities in respect to looking at granny flats or any other opportunity that might arise. So it's important we focus on people to make sure they have a roof over their heads.
And do you personally back the new scheme?
Absolutely, I back it 100% and support the Deputy Premier behind this, and also the Housing Minister.
Minister, you've heard the calls for a bit daft to be sacked. Does she have your...
Steamrolled over. I'll take that question. Can you repeat it for us, please?
Are you guys ready? Okay, we've heard the calls for a bit daft to be sacked. Does she have your support?
Vet Darth, the Health Minister, has everyone's support, not only in Cabinet but also caucus. She has done a sterling job right through COVID-19, right through the whole process, and I couldn't think of anyone better to be in that position. She has delivered, she has protected, along with the Chief Health Officer, both before and current, and the backing of the Premier and everyone in Cabinet. That is a ridiculous viewpoint to call for the dismissal of one of our best health ministers this government has ever seen.
You've got serious issues up at Mackay Hospital at the moment, and then you've got the DNA testing debacle. What's your take on the government's handling so far?
We'll deal through those processes as we always do in terms of health. These are extreme conditions that are affecting not only Queensland but the nation, but other countries. I'll use the example once again in my trade mission to Vietnam, where there are shortages of workers over there as a result of COVID. So every country, every state in Australia are dealing with the consequences of COVID-19. But we'll get through it because we've dealt with this appropriately right from the outset. We were the first state in the nation to identify the seriousness of COVID-19, and that's why we put measures in place on how we dealt with it and protected Queenslanders, and we always will.
Back to Vet Darth, two public servants have been stood down before the inquiry finished and the Minister gets to keep her job. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the Minister has done nothing wrong. She has acted decisively. The Cabinet has acted decisively once we had the report in terms of the DNA issue. It is a serious issue, and we need to allow the processes in place to work through the reporting of that, both in the health but also QPS in terms of their review of the process with DNA. All good?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You want some overlay with the police cars?
Yeah, thank you.
And watch your steps. There's dog droppings around on